Your foundation is now complete. And it may feel like you haven't really done much marketing, but I can promise you, the foundation you've built is more important to your book's success than any of the tools and tactics that we're about to go through in the coming videos. Having this foundation right means that everything else will be pointed in the right direction that will lead to your book's success. And so now it's time for us to go through the 5 pillars of your book launch. And the first pillar we're gonna talk about is your audience, the people that you have direct access to. Now, if you're like most authors, your first thought is, I'm not Kim Kardashian, I don't have an audience. But you don't need a TV show or millions of Instagram followers in order to have an audience. Your audience is anyone that you have the ability to reach out to directly to let know that your book exists in the hopes that they might buy a copy. Right? This isn't your friend Todd who has an audience of his own who he can share the book with. We'll get to him later. These are the people who you have direct access to in order to announce your book. That might be your email contacts, your Facebook friends, your LinkedIn connections, people who go to your church or mosque, anyone that you're able to directly reach and announce your book to, that's a part of your audience. And so Miles, with that in mind, how would we define your audience? Who are the people that you can reach directly to let know about your book?
Yeah, so I have about 18,000 followers on Instagram, so I would definitely want to utilize that. I have about 1,500 Facebook friends that are, more of like high school, college buddies. And then I have about 1,000 LinkedIn connections. And then I have an email list that's not super engaged, but there's about 100 to 200 people on that.
Cool. So once we have those audiences clear, the next decision is what the communication cadence with each of them is going to be. And there's 3 tiers of communication depending on how close the relationship is. The third tier with the least communication is for audiences that maybe you don't have permission to reach out to them consistently, you're not that close with them, you don't talk that often. And what you want to do with these folks is you want to reach out to them twice. Once on launch day to let them know your book is available for sale and let them know what it is. And second, on the Friday of launch week, thanking them for their support, recapping some successes of the week, and reminding them to buy the book. The second tier is for people that you're a little bit closer to. Maybe you have permission to reach out, maybe they opted in at one point, but you're not super close and they don't expect a lot of content from you. And so for these people, you'll do those same 2 touch points, but you'll add 2 more. First, you'll reach out 2 months before to let them know the book is coming, let them know the launch date, maybe share the cover and some information about it. And you'll also reach out the week before launch, building anticipation, getting them excited, maybe sharing some testimonials or a chapter from the book. The first tier is for people who expect a lot of communication from you. These might be social media connections on a platform you post on frequently or emails on a list that you email all the time. And you'll do those same 4 touch points, but add 2 more. One about a month before launch, continuing to build that excitement and maybe sharing some more content, and one the day before launch, really emphasizing the excitement that the book is coming the next day, sharing whatever resources you can, and building that anticipation. And with all that in mind, Miles, how would you divide up your audiences? Which of them do you feel need 2 touch points, which need 4, and which need 6?
Yeah, this is something I never would have thought about, so I'm glad we're talking about this even personally. So for me, I think the most touch points would come from Instagram. That's where I'm most active. The middle, I would say, would be Facebook and LinkedIn, where I'm somewhat active, but maybe not quite as active, especially because they're less maybe of that target audience that I'm thinking that the book should reach. And then probably the least engaged of all of my contacts would be my email list. So I would probably only reach out to them once and let them know that the book is coming.
Cool. And so what we want to do once those decisions are clear is we want to take those touch points and add them directly to our book launch calendar. And so for Miles, his Instagram audience, we want to have those 6 touch points. 2 months before, 1 month before, 1 week before, the day before launch, launch day, and the Friday of launch week, all 6. For his email list, maybe just those 2 during launch week, and for his other social platforms, the 4 that's somewhere in between. And we're gonna put those directly on the calendar so that Miles knows when to reach out to each of those groups. Now, all of that is pre-launch and launch week, but we also want to communicate with this audience after launch to keep them engaged. The difference is that after launch, people are gonna get really tired of you saying, buy my book, check out my book. So we wanna stop talking about the book itself and focus more on consistently providing value around the ideas related to the book. And so this can come in a variety of forms, right? This might be a weekly email, this might be social media posts, this could be videos or a podcast or anything else, but you should make some decision about how you want to continue to engage with this audience once the launch is over. And so Miles, are there any forms of communication that you want to do with your audience over the months after the book comes out?
Yeah, I would definitely want to be doing podcast episodes around the ideas of the book and maybe releasing those episodes. I'd love to also film some videos talking about the problem that I'm solving in the book, as well as just Instagram posts, like maybe quote images, that those quotes are pulled from the book itself.
Cool. And with all that laid out, we'll now have the complete plan, starting 2 months before the launch and going right through after launch, of everything we want to do to engage with our audience in order to make the launch successful. Once you have all that clear, you're ready for the next video.